Hello everybody. Welcome to, I think, our 4th annual book haul. For people that don't know, my aunt and I go to Books A Million every year during Black Friday weekend, and we just get so many books. It's basically just an excuse for her to not give me anything on my birthday or Christmas. This makes up for all of it. I'm not complaining because I like books. I'm literally an English major in college, 3 years in, surprisingly. But I have a lot of books to share and some little trinkets that aren't books, but adjacent. And I'm excited to show them off to you guys. I want to start this haul by saying the only one that I ordered online, which I didn't even have to get online, but I wanted the hardcover edition, and in store only had paperback. I bought The Outsiders. It's a book that I read back in 8th grade, and we watched the movie, of course, obviously, and I just fell in love with it from then. And then back in August, I listened to the audiobook, which got me back into the Outsiders scene, and I thought I was over it. But then the Broadway cast was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I don't know much about the musical. I think it's fairly new, but I thought they killed it, so now I'm back, and I'm just waiting for that to come in. It has shipped. By the time this video goes up, it probably will already be here. If you don't know, it's a book written by S.E. Hinton. It takes place in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 1960s. The main cast are greasers, and there are this other group that are like the preppy rich kids called Socs. And I don't know how much I can say without spoiling it, but it's a classic and I love it, and I'm very excited for the hardcover to get here whenever it does. But that was the only one on my list that I had to order offline. Everything else that was on my list, which I only had like that plus the 2 Bridgerton books that I needed. Everything else was just like random add-ons that I wanted to check out and enjoy. But now on to the actual haul itself. I'm going to start with the little trinkets, and then we'll go back into the discussion of the books. I'm going to start with another bookmark because I needed more. And yes, this is Taylor Swift themed because I'm a fairly new Swiftie, and they had a little table of Taylor themed stuff. It says in my reading era. I just needed another bookmark, and I also got another one that says the trash reader. It's a little raccoon looking tarot card. And then I thought I'd finally buy a reading light. I thought I'd get one just because it's winter now. It's dark really, really fast, and my LEDs that I have in my room have died. Well, like the first row of them died, and I haven't had the time to take them down and put up the new ones that I have. So I thought I'd try out a book light. And this one has a little dragon on it because really no specific reason other than this the main part was black, which fits my aesthetic. I guess in a way you can say it reminds me of House of the Dragon, which I started watching. I'm planning a ramble video eventually, where I will like talk more on that, but I started House of the Dragon, which is the Game of Thrones prequel. Have I seen Game of Thrones? No. But I started the prequel. And the final trinket is Bridgerton themed tea by the Republic of Tea. This is the triple Earl Grey flavor, which I do like Earl Grey, so. But I mainly got this because it's got my boys on it, my 3 favorites. And the back of the can says, that twist on traditional Earl Grey tea is anything but boring. Rakes, artists, and lovers can all depend on this black tea with bergamot, orange, and lemon to get them through the day, or whenever their endless charms and good looks fail to impress. But I do really like tea, obviously, but I mainly wanted this because my boys are on the canister, and I'm going to put other little tiny things in this jar once the tea is gone. Moving on to actual books, let's start with the manga because I know a lot of my audience are anime fans. So I got the Tokyo Revengers Omnibus, volumes 3 through 4, and volumes 23 through 24. I'm a huge Tokyo Revengers fan. I have a little, like a mini section of my manga collection dedicated to just Tokyo Revengers. My plan for the manga, now that physical copies are in stores in America, was to get volumes of ones with my favorite characters on the cover. I read the whole thing online when it was actively coming out. So I don't think I will ever get the full collection. I think with these editions I'm done with what I plan on collecting for Tokyo Revengers. So obviously for 23 and 24 this is Hanma, and then for 3 through 4 is Draken. And I have the first volume which has Takamichi on it. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but they're fairly early on. I also have the volumes with Mikey, Baji, and Mitsuya on the covers as well. And surprisingly, you wouldn't think so based on previous years, but those were the only 2 mangas that I actually got. Everything else is other books. I guess we can move to Bridgerton, because I got into Bridgerton back in June of 2024, this year, and I binged the entire show and am making my way through the books as of filming this, I have one chapter left, not including the 2 epilogues of Colin and Penelope's book. I even did a video where I read the prologues of the first 4. I am planning on doing a part 2 to that, now that I have all of them. But this was one of the ones I needed. This is Hyacinth's story. It's called It's in His Kiss. And Bridgerton, if you don't know, is basically just a Regency England romance. Netflix adapted it into a show that is really good, but also it should be based on the books, which season 1 is. But after the season 1, it's not, which is why I'm so scared for season 4 when that comes out, because it's Benedict's season, and I think his book was my favorite to read, and I'm so scared because I just know they're going to change so much of it. But this is, I think Hyacinth comes before Gregory, which is weird because Hyacinth is the youngest. But this is Hyacinth, and obviously I got Gregory's as well, called On the Way to the Wedding. And I also got, because I couldn't help myself, one of the Bridgerton prequels, which is not about the Bridgerton siblings, so I don't know if I'm going to like this. But this one is because of Miss Bridgerton. All I know is that it's about this person called Billy Bridgerton, which I've never heard of, if you know the main series. But I thought I'd give at least one of the prequels a try to see if I like it. I think next we should bounce off the British theme. They have a bargain section at Books A Million that my aunt loves, so I accompanied her to it, and I found for $6 Sex Lives of Kings and Queens of England. I am a huge British history nerd, especially for the monarchy and aristocracy, which is probably why I like Bridgerton so much. So even though I know some of these stories already, I thought I'd pick it up just to see. Like Edward the Caresser, that is, I believe, Queen Victoria's son and heir. Yeah, the Prince of Wales with a constant disappointment to his upright parents, and Albert Edward, or more commonly just plain Bertie, the Hanoverian taste for mischief reasserted itself strongly. It's Queen Victoria's son and heir. But I already know, like, quite a bit of this. Like, Edward the Caresser, there's, I'm pretty sure, Henry VIII somewhere. Charles II, huge playboy. But this was $6, and I like British history, especially with the monarchy and aristocracy, so I picked it up just for funsies. And also in the bargain section, I found a romanticy coloring book. because I like to color. I don't know off the top of my head any romantasy books that could be mentioned in this. I'm willing to bet that there will probably, oh my god, I'm willing to bet there's probably A Court of Thorns and Roses mentioned in this. But I like to color, so always a pleasure to get more coloring books. So this was one I got. The last two books from the bargain section, I was originally only going to get one, but then my aunt, who pays for all of this, was just like, just get them both, because I couldn't decide which one I wanted more. So the first one is Greek Myths and Legends, because I am researching for the sake of being a Hellenistic pagan. And also because I've just always loved ancient history. That's like, British history is like my number one history topic that I love learning about and talking about. But ancient history was really the start of my history enjoyment, thanks to my 7th grade teacher. And my introduction was ancient civilizations like Egypt, China, Mesopotamia, and Greece and Rome. So this is basically just, ooh, look at the inside. Look how pretty. This is basically just stories about the Greek gods and obviously the legends and stuff. There's Eros and Psyche, a famous lovers chapter, which I know I saw the mention of Ares and Aphrodite in. Ares and Hephaestus, Persephone, Dionysus. Also, look at the edges. This collection of classic stories from Greek mythology recounts the exploits of the gods in Olympus, as well as great heroes including Heracles, Perseus, and Theseus, and their extraordinary adventures. But it looks so pretty too. This one's going to be a really fun read for me because history nerd. But I couldn't decide between that or this pretty Roman myths, because Greece and Rome overlap with some things. Like, I'm trying to think. Zeus and Jupiter. Essentially the same god, just a different name. But this one has a lot of pictures in it. This is the introduction and some little bits and pieces here. I saw pages with certain artifacts, like this is Romulus and Remus. But I knew there was a lot of overlap, and I'm sure there is a lot of stuff that don't overlap, but I just couldn't decide which one I wanted. And then my aunt was like, I'll pay for both. So I got both. Stories and Legends from Ancient Rome. It starts with a quote by Virgil. Then, driven wild, shouting for arms, he ransacked house and chamber. Lust of steel raged in him, brute insanity of war. From the great deeds of heroes such as Aeneas and Ulysses to tales of the gods Neptune, Mars, Venus, and Mercury, Roman myths provides an informative guide to the myths and legends of one of the great foundation civilizations of Europe. If I had a setup for like reading videos where I could do like a top-down view of the camera and just show this as I read it, I would be doing more reading videos, especially with books like this and the Greek myths. Alas, currently I don't have a setup like that. So I kind of, when I do the reading videos, I kind of just do like I'm a teacher in an elementary school reading to her students. I read and then flip the book around to show pictures. The last little bit that I have are classics. And I'm going to start with Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, an amazing author. Like The Outsiders, this is one that I read in class, and I wasn't as big of a fan of it when I first read it. Granted, there was also like COVID going on, because I read this my junior year of high school, which was fully online thanks to COVID hitting. And I was also unmedicated for my anxiety, which, yeah, has obviously some effects. Being unmedicated is not ideal, but I am now. So I thought I'd get a physical copy that I can annotate, especially because I won't go into politics in this video, but I live in America, and Trump was elected president for starting in 2025, and part of his Project 2025 was to kind of ban certain books, which was almost every single book in existence, which is weird. And I know it's not the end of the world, obviously, even though it feels like it, but I know that printing and publishing companies will still continue to make and manufacture these. But a lot of the Project 2025 books are books that we learn in school, and if they're banned, they will be not taught in schools, which I feel like there's so many that need to be taught in schools. Like there is the Diary of Anne Frank, and Fahrenheit 451. I have a plan for my currently unused second channel, where I plan on making a rant video about the book bannings and why it's a bad idea. But I feel like Fahrenheit 451 is like very, very important book, especially in America with the whole like book ban list now. So I got a physical copy to reread and annotate, And I'm sorry if you can hear my mom's dogs rattling around in the living room. I'm hoping that's not too loud. Again, I have a ramble video planned where I will talk about the second channel and all of that, hopefully soon. But I am planning a rant video about the importance of books like this and The Diary of Anne Frank, and why banning them, especially in schools, is a god-awful idea. Coming from someone whose major is books, I'm a literary major, who one of my job options is to get a master's in librarian science to work in a library. Books are important. Last two, I had a feeling I'd leave with at least one, especially because my spring classes, I have a class where we will have to read a Jane Austen book. We don't know which one yet, but with my obsession with Bridgerton, I wanted to read a Jane Austen book, and I didn't care which one, but I got two because they were just so pretty. The first one is Mansfield Park. Look how pretty this is. This is a Cranford Classic collection. And I love this cover so much. There's a little drawing there. I don't really know how to explain Jane Austen. She's a female author, obviously, who lived and wrote in the Regency era in England. And she's most known for this next book that I will show after, Mansfield Park. So yeah, I got this one and her most famous work, which actually was a bargain version, Pride and Prejudice. I'm sure most of you have heard about Pride and Prejudice, even if you haven't read it. With my class that I have to read this in, obviously we don't know which Jane Austen we'll have to read, but I wanted to read her anyway, so I just picked up these two because I thought I'd enjoy them. And if these happen to not be the one that we read in class, which she only has like 4 that she published in her lifetime, and then I think 2 were published posthumously. I know there have been books of hers published after her death, but I think there's only 2 of them, not including like short little letters and stuff. But if these happen to not be one of the ones we read in class, oh well, I won't mind reading another. But that is this year's haul. Honestly, not a lot of books compared to last year and the other years prior. I know this was a lot for like non-book people, but I don't know, I just like books. It's my major. I have to get a whole bunch of books that I'll probably only read once and maybe annotate, and that'd be that. But at least it makes me happy. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.